Welcome to Arise News coverage of the 2025 Africa Sovereign Investment Forum, hosted here in Abuja by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. With Africa's economic future in focus, discussions here will likely shape cross-border collaboration and economic strategies across the continent. But the big question: can African sovereign wealth funds be that catalyst that Africa needs to unlock billions in capital? Let's find out. This year's convening has drawn sovereign wealth funds from across Africa, alongside global institutional investors and development finance institutions, under the theme Leveraging African Sovereign Wealth Funds to Mobilize Growth Capital for Transformative Development in Africa.
Over the course of this meeting, we shall be focusing on how, through effective domestic, continental, and global partnerships, African sovereign wealth funds can, on balance, achieve three things. The first is how we can offer the right balance between being risk takers, saddled with the responsibility of catalyzing economic impact on the one hand, and being conservative investors, managing wealth for our future generations on the other. Secondly, how we can collectively co-create a sustainable investment vehicle that can mobilize global capital at scale to channel towards propositions that offer as much emphasis on commercial returns as social returns. And thirdly, how we can position ourselves as the preferred financial and strategic partners of choice, with the right blend of domestic influence and capital for global investors seeking market exposure in our respective sovereigns.
A bold vision in a time when Africa's investment narrative is shifting from aid dependence to capital-led transformation.
The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority stands not only as a steward of our sovereign capital, but as a vehicle for the delivery of strategic infrastructure. It is a catalyst in our national quest to redeem renewable energy, healthcare, agriculture, and much more. It is also a hub for pioneering innovative capital mobilization solutions tailored to the realities of our continent.
Among the key highlights of the summit is the launch of the ASIF investment platform, a first-of-its-kind pan-African initiative aimed at pooling sovereign capital to co-invest in infrastructure and climate-smart projects across the continent. Another milestone: the Memorandum of Understanding signed between ASIF and the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa, a partnership expected to channel billions of dollars into sustainable energy, resilient transportation, and digital infrastructure.
In this decisive period, sovereign wealth funds must move beyond their traditional roles of stabilizing and wealth preservation to becoming active instruments for economic transformation. The central question is going to be, how do we leverage Africa's sovereign capital to crowd in international finance, forge impactful partnerships, and build a sustainable future for our people?
Key speakers at the event, including Samaila Zubairu, who is the CEO and president of AFC, emphasized the urgency of mobilizing homegrown capital and positioning African sovereign wealth funds as central players in shaping an inclusive economic future for the continent.
You must always work with domestic capital. You must ensure that the Africans are leading and then the world will follow. If we just expect them to follow, they will not do so. It's easier to have a conversation that this is what we're doing, this is the impact we have created, let's scale this impact together, as opposed to what can we do together.
From sovereign synergy to sustainability strategy, ASIF 2025 has positioned African wealth funds not just as passive investors, but as architects of the continent's economic future. Nkechi Nana, Arise News, Abuja.